Thanks very much, Sarika, and morning everyone. Really nice to be here with you today in person. My name's Jo Southernwood, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Eastern New Energy Programme, as you've just heard. So I think businesses have had a really challenging few years, probably more challenging than any other period of time. And I don't just mean the pandemic, which of course has brought new challenges that nobody was expecting. But even before the pandemic, we were talking about Brexit, and we were worried about the uncertainties that Brexit brought and what we were going to do. So I think you've had a really challenging 5-year period, and now, as we've just heard, businesses are being asked by government to make changes and to help them to reach their net zero carbon targets, not just by the government, but by your suppliers and customers also. So, as we've just heard, you're going to be under pressure to make more changes to your business as time goes on. And I think those pressures are only going to grow as we move forward, because we've set these targets for 2050 now. I think it's quite likely that those targets will be brought forward and will be under more pressure more quickly. So I feel for businesses in this period, it's a really difficult time in which to be doing business. Now, I speak to lots of businesses every day, and what I often hear from them is this. They say to me, I want to decarbonise, I want to minimise the impact of my business on the environment, but I don't know where to start. I'm busy running my business, I have lots of different pressures, I don't have the skills or the resources in-house to do it, and I'm struggling for time. I'm under a lot of pressure. So what I want to say to you is, if this is you, if you're sitting in the audience today thinking, yeah, I totally understand that, that's exactly how I feel, I have 3 pieces of good news for you this morning. The first piece of good news is you're not alone. If that's how you're feeling, I can guarantee you that almost every business are feeling these exact same pressures, and they're in the same position. And if you're thinking about how to go net zero carbon, if you're thinking about how to minimise your environmental impact, I'd say you're ahead of the game already, because there are some businesses out there that aren't really thinking about this. And by starting to think about how are you going to take action, I think that puts you in a really strong position already. So that's the first piece of good news. The second piece of good news is you've probably already started. You're probably already doing something. And again, I speak to many businesses who say to me, well, yeah, we haven't really done anything. And then I talk to them a bit more and I understand what's happened in their business in the last few years. And it turns out, actually, they have done something. They just perhaps haven't done it for environmental reasons. They haven't particularly done it because they're trying to minimise their carbon footprint. They've done it because it makes good business sense. And I've got a couple of examples here. I spoke to a garage, so a vehicle service centre, that was offering tyre repairs to their customers. And what they realised is that there is a method that you can use to repair a car tyre if it has a puncture rather than replace it. In certain circumstances it is safe to do that, and there's a process for doing that. Now, as you might know, disposing of car tyres is very expensive. Very difficult, very expensive. You can only dispose of them in certain locations. You need a licensed waste handler to deal with that waste. So by switching their process and offering their customers a repair service rather than only a replace service, they were able to reduce their own waste disposal costs and also provide a new service that's cheaper for their customers. So they made this change for business reasons. But it has an environmental impact. It minimises their environmental impact and minimises their carbon footprint. So the knock-on effect is that they have improved their business sustainability. Second example there, printing company. They had a leaky roof, which, as you can imagine, is a very uncomfortable place to work in, potentially could cause damage to their equipment. So they replaced their roof, and when they did that replacement, they replaced it with an insulated roof, which improved their energy efficiency and cut their energy bills. Not only did it cut their energy bills, but they found that actually productivity in the workplace increased because their staff were more comfortable. And so they had all these knock-on effects. Again, they made that change for business reasons, not necessarily with sustainability at the forefront of their mind. And what I want to say is that's okay. a sustainable business is a profitable business. To stay in business, you have to make a profit. You have to make good business decisions. That doesn't mean they can't also be environmentally friendly decisions. So I think it's worth considering that you're probably already taking action in some way. Similarly, every time you turn off the lights when you leave a room, every time you recycle something, every time you repair rather than buying something new, when you invest in equipment that's the best quality that you can afford, every time you take one of these small actions, you are taking action. So my message to you is you're probably already doing something. Have a think about it. You might have made some decisions that are right for your business that also have knock-on effects on the environment that are positive. The third piece of good news I have for you is that if you want to do more, there is support available to you. And so I'm going to talk to you about the Eastern New Energy Programme today, and I'm going to tell you about some of the support services that we have on offer. But you'll hear throughout the morning, you'll hear from other speakers as well who have similar services on offer, and there is a lot of support out there if you know where to find it. So do come and talk to us, because we can probably help you. So for Eastern New Energy, our mission is to accelerate the transition to a low carbon economy. So we recognise those barriers that I spoke about right at the start, the lack of time, the lack of finance, the lack of knowledge, all of those things. And Eastern New Energy has been designed to try to help to remove some of those barriers. We're offering these services free of charge. They're available until the end of this year, December 2022. We have 15 different partners, each of whom has a different specialism within the sustainability space. So whatever your problem is, we can probably find someone who can help you. So if I don't know the answer, probably there's someone on my team that does. And what we're saying to businesses is, look, you are busy running your business, we get that, and you are experts in your field. Whatever your sector is, you know your business the best. So let us help you to manage your carbon footprint, because that's what we're experts in. So let us help you and let us take the hassle out of carbon management from you so that you can get on with running your business. And we have a number of support programs that we can offer, which I'll run through with you in a second. And we're looking to support individual businesses as a starting point, but we'd also like to hear from businesses that are on whole trading estates, because we think there are probably some benefits to whole groups of businesses who might be geographically located close to each other to work together. So why decarbonise? I mean, you've heard some of these reasons already this morning. Taking action to decarbonise can help you to reduce your costs, absolutely, yes. There's a business benefit there from reduced energy costs, reduced materials, maintenance, disposal, and so on. You might also attract new customers. You might also retain existing ones. There's definitely going to be more pressure coming through from your customers. And you've already heard as well, it might help you to attract and retain the best staff in your business. And finally, climate change is coming. We're already seeing increases in temperature. So building your business resilience and thinking about how your business might need to adapt to some of these changes can just help your business to be more resilient to these long-term changes that are coming down the track. So how can we help? How can Eastern New Energy help? As I mentioned, free support, lots of different support services. I'm going to quickly run through each one of these now so that you can see what's on offer. But I have a stand out in the reception area. Do come and have a chat to me, come and have a chat to my team as well, and we'll talk you through what we can offer. So if you have a premises, if you have a building, energy is at the fore of many people's minds at the moment, because we've just heard about the price increases that are coming down the line. I think that will continue. So if you're concerned about rising energy bills and you have a business premises, we can send out an expert to come and carry out an energy survey of your premises. And what they will do is they'll take a look at your energy bills, they'll take a look at how you use energy on site, and they'll make some recommendations on ways that you might be able to cut your energy bills. And they could range anything from the very easy, no-cost, low-cost measures, don't cost you anything, right through to the more expensive ones like solar PV on your roof, for example. And what they'll try to do is cost out those recommendations for you so that you can start to build a business case for investment. And if it doesn't make financial sense, we'll tell you that as well. We're not affiliated to any particular supplier or manufacturer, so the advice that you'll receive is completely independent. We're not selling anything. And that's running until the end of the year, as I mentioned. If you have your energy survey and it does identify some measures that you might want to install in your business, but perhaps you don't quite have enough cash available to make that happen, sitting alongside this, we do have a grants programme. So if you're looking for some extra investment into those energy efficiency upgrades, we might be able to help you. And the type of projects that we tend to be able to support are things like rooftop solar PV, LED lighting upgrades, heating controls, variable speed drives. So anything like that where you're making an energy saving and therefore a reduction in your carbon footprint, those are the kind of projects we can support with. The grant covers up to 25% of the project costs and our minimum is £1,000. My colleagues are here today who are running the grants programme, so do come and have a chat to them if you're interested in that. As you can imagine, the grant scheme is very popular, so do come and speak to us early. We are asking for expressions of interest by the 17th of March. We'll see how the funding pot is looking at that point. There may be a further round, but we'd advise you to get in touch with us as soon as possible. If you're a company that has a vehicle fleet, you run a fleet of vans or company cars, you might be thinking about the 2030 government policy to remove the sale of new petrol and diesel vehicles by 2030. And you might be thinking, well, I'm not quite sure how my business is going to deal with that. If that's the case, again, we have a specialist within our team that can come and look at your vehicle fleet and help you to assess, is there an electric vehicle out there which could do the job for you? And so they'll take a look at which vehicles are suitable, they'll take a look at how much will it cost or how much will it save to run that EV, they'll look at the carbon savings, and they'll answer questions for you like, well, what does this mean for the total cost of ownership? Is the total cost of owning an EV lower than the total cost of owning a petrol or diesel vehicle over its entire lifetime? They'll give you advice on how to charge it. What does the charging infrastructure look like in your area? Could you really operate that EV? Again, they're impartial. So if it's not right for your business right now because the technology isn't quite there yet, they'll tell you. So yeah, lots of advice on EVs are available to you if that's of interest. If you're a bit earlier in your journey and you're thinking, well, I know I need to start thinking about net zero carbon planning, not quite sure yet what my carbon footprint is, not quite sure where's the best place to start, we are running some net zero carbon planning workshops. So these are running next month in March. It's a series of 6 2-hour online workshops. And our team will work with you to understand, where do your carbon emissions come from? How can you monitor them within your business? What kind of things do you need to think about to start to bring your carbon footprint down? How might you start to develop a policy around those actions and an action plan to follow through with that? And if you want to take it a step further, there are members of our team who can offer some further one-to-one support to help you to put that plan into action. So this is kind of just a taster session to start to get you thinking about some of these issues, and we can provide further support if that's of interest. So that's running next month, and you can register any time. I've got some further details on the stand if you're interested in that. And the final thing we have on offer is some innovation support. So if you're a business that has or is developing a new low carbon product or service, and you're thinking about, well, how do I bring that new product or service to market, we have other experts on our team who can help you with that also. So it might be around identifying a route to market or trying to put a value on what's the size of the market. If you're looking at using data, perhaps you're developing an app or something along those lines, and you need to think about how will you use that data, how will you manage it, how will you secure it, We can help you to write something like a data management plan. If you're looking for finance to invest in your new product or service, or you're looking for a grant, we have members of the team that can assist you to strengthen your application. And finally, some business planning support if that's of interest. So we have a range of different partners who have all of those different levels of expertise that we can put you in touch with. So that was my final piece of good news. There is support out there. I've just told you about what's on offer from Eastern New Energy, but I know that you'll hear about others in the room today and in the area who can offer more support. If you're interested, take a look at our website. The email address there, it's ene@uel.ac.uk. It's UEL because they are the lead partner on Eastern New Energy. And what happens is you'll go through to a central team, they'll have a chat to you, see what kind of support services you're after, and we'll triage you out to the correct partner who can support. I'm just outside, I'll be here all day. Do come and have a chat to me. I'd really love to speak to you. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jo. Any questions?
Yep.
Is there any support to find and help pay for individuals to come into a business if you employ someone to do just this, just helping you achieve sustainability?
So to help you find a person that you would employ.
Where do you find them, and then is there any support to pay them?
So not through Eastern New Energy, but I would probably wait to hear from perhaps the Growth Hub or perhaps one of the other speakers today, because I'm sure I've heard about apprenticeship programs and potentially other support services in that region, but not through Eastern New Energy.
Quick question from me. Do you have an upper limit on the capital grant? You said the minimum was 1,000.
I did. We are deliberately not putting an upper limit on the capital grant because if there is a particularly innovative project that would like support, we will consider it. What I would say is that most of the grants tend to be, or most of the projects tend to have a value of below £25,000. That's just because it's much easier to go through the process for a smaller grant than a larger one, because beyond that limit there are procurement rules, we need to go out to tender and so on. So it's much easier for the smaller projects, and most people come to us with a smaller project for a smaller grant, but we wouldn't rule out a larger one if it's particularly innovative.
Okay. Another question for me? I got the mic. So I noticed that it was for SMEs and it was also for large energy users. So what kind of large energy users typically would approach you?
So large energy users, typically it would be businesses that are in the manufacturing sector, or those who own very large offices, large retail spaces, even hospitality sector businesses. Their energy bills can be quite high. What I would say is if you're spending more than £5,000 a year on energy, we can probably help you to find some energy savings. We're not really putting a limit on it. We'll help the smaller ones as well as the larger ones, but potentially with the larger businesses there's often more opportunity.
Thank you very much.